Today's episode was sparked by pure frustration. I have seen way too many posts lately calling people out for the telltale signs that they have used AI to help them with their content and telling them what they should be doing instead. Now, not only do we all know I hate the word should, but also that kind of advice doesn't help most small business owners. It just makes them feel deflated and discouraged. Social media marketing is hard enough without being shamed for trying to make it easier. And a lot of that advice, it comes from people with teams, budgets and support and privilege they don't even acknowledge. Or it's because they want to sell their services to you, or they know that kind of post is going to get them good engagement. Now, don't get me wrong, I am all for selling your services and creating content that gets engagement. But I don't believe we should be doing that by shaming people or making them feel bad. So in this episode of Show Up and Be Heard, I'm talking about why using AI is not a bad thing, how I use it myself, and how you can make sure your content still sounds like you and builds trust. If you've ever felt judged or paranoid about your posts, then this one is for you. But before we dive in, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to Show Up and Be Heard, the podcast that exists to help women like you simplify your business and your life so that you can stop feeling so overwhelmed. I am your host, Becci McAvoy, owner and founder of Be Heard Socials, and I am an award-winning social media marketer and international speaker who specialises in content strategy and organic growth on social media. Through this podcast, as well as my own social media, email community, and my award-winning membership, the Boss Your Socials Club, my mission is to cut through the noise to make social media marketing accessible and easy to understand for businesses that can't afford to outsource or who don't have the teams required to implement most of the advice that is being given to them. So if you want to cut through the noise and BS and get practical, actionable advice tailored specifically to make social media marketing accessible and easy to understand, or if you want to be part of a supportive community where women entrepreneurs can feel connected and inspired to achieve their dreams, then keep listening because you are in the right place. To get more tips like the ones you hear in this podcast, make sure you join my email community through the link in the show notes. Right then, let's get started with this week's episode. It doesn't matter if people can see AI helped write your post if the alternative is not posting at all. I just want you to let that land for 1 second. It does not matter. This has been brewing in me for a while, and I've decided to do a podcast episode around it because I need to get it off my chest, if nothing else, but I also hope that it really helps you truly understand, and I'll repeat it one more time, it doesn't matter if people can see AI help write your post if the alternative is not posting at all. I have been seeing more and more of these posts on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever it might be, across social media, basically shaming small business owners for using AI to help write content. And it's often the posts that are like, X a number of signs that ChatGPT wrote your copy for you or wrote your caption for you or whatever it might be. And I'll be honest, it's just getting right on my nerves because I think it's more damaging than it is beneficial. It's that same old energy of you're doing it wrong, dressed up as helpful advice, when in reality, all it's actually doing is making small business owners, especially women who are juggling everything, feel like rubbish. It's bringing in the self-doubt, it's bringing in the imposter syndrome, and it's just making us feel rubbish. Like if you see that and you're using it and, you know, you had been really proud of yourself because you've been getting content out there maybe, and then you see a post like that and it just brings you, it just makes you feel horrible. And it's creating paranoia and self-doubt and unnecessary pressure. And honestly, it's all seeped in privilege that rarely gets acknowledged. Because most of the people that are saying these things, they have teams, they have budgets, they have capacity, and 9 times out of 10, they're probably trying to sell you the thing that AI is helping you with, which is great. I would always recommend using a real person over a robot or over AI. They will almost always, if you get the right person, do a better job. But if you can't afford that, or you're not in a position to outsource that right now, then how is it helpful to have that kind of post, you know, like on your feed? They are not sat at the kitchen table trying to write a caption on their phone whilst also cooking dinner and replying to a school trip form at the same time. They're not running a business single-handedly whilst also being a carer or managing chronic illness or trying to stay afloat in a cost of living crisis or in the world that we live in right now. And do you know what? Even if they are, maybe they are, and that's great. But they're not understanding that a lot of the people that are using that AI need it, and there's not an alternative to it. And the alternative actually for you is not posting at all. So let's be really, really, really clear. If using AI means that you are able to show up more consistently with less stress and still deliver value, that is a win, full stop. And, I will be honest, I use AI too. Not always, not every post, and not to completely write the post, but sometimes, absolutely. Sometimes I use it to inspire me, to help me get started when my brain's foggy, to bounce ideas off when I'm stuck in my head. Sometimes I just need a springboard, like to get me going. And AI is really good at that. Sometimes I will ask it for help on something and it will write something and I'm like, no, that's not the thing. That's not how I want to say it at all. But it sparks me off and it gets me going and it gets those juices flowing. So I want to the places that I won't use it and the way that I use it to make sure that my content, where I draw the line, I guess, with using AI is that I never let it replace my voice. And I don't believe it should replace yours either. Even if, like if you need the help, like if that's your alternative to not posting at all, then absolutely use it. But I would recommend not letting it replace your voice, and still, you can still create content that sounds natural. So today I'm going to give you some practical tips to help you use AI well, because I will also be honest, there are some telltale signs that I see posts. I'm like, oh, that was literally copied and pasted from ChatGPT or AI, because there is a level of genericness to it. And again, I don't ever judge that person. Like, I am more pleased that they have got the content out there, but there are some telltale signs, but there are ways that you can use AI that those telltale signs disappear a little bit. And more importantly, you make it sound more like you, because that's what you want in your content. You want it to come across like you are saying it. Because like with any tool that you use, to be honest, regardless whether it's AI or anything, it's all about how you use it. But before we get into that, I just want to touch a little bit on something I've already mentioned. This talk about, or what I said about AI paranoia. There is, like I said, the posts generally that I'm seeing are calling out like these telltale signs that you use AI. And it's things like M dashes, certain emojis. So it will be the rocket emoji or the way a sentence is structured. And they're basically using that as proof someone has used AI. And I'm a bit like, sorry, what? I've always used some of that stuff. So I've always used M dashes, granted not in the way that AI uses it, with like there's no space between it and it's generally quite long. But some people, including me, are genuinely starting to question their own writing because they use an M dash or because their caption ended with a sparkles emoji. And like, you go onto social media and they're being told that those are AI giveaways, even if they've always written that way. Or, like there's certain words that AI will use a lot. And actually, I had this conversation with a friend the other day because I was like, oh, that word just screams AI. And so we tried to think of another word, like where we are using it a lot. We know that AI comes up with it a lot. I also said to another friend, actually, oh, I don't want to use this word. And the word was shine, like a standard word in the English language. But the word was shine. I was like, oh, because it just screams AI. And she actually said to me, that's literally all over my branding. And my branding existed way before like the uprising of AI. So it just goes to show you that it's nonsense. Like you could have not used AI. And the things that people are calling out in these posts are things that you've always done or just ways that you've always written. So like I said, I've used M dashes for years. It's just the way I write. I either use that or the sort of like little ellipsis of ... I used it long before ChatGPT existed. I've always loved emojis. I used to love the rocket emoji. I now won't use it because I am a bit paranoid about it. But yeah, please, I love them. And I will still use them if I feel like it fits naturally in with my content and it's something that I've used before. So just because AI now uses those things doesn't mean you can't. So if you've always written like that, please don't panic. It's not a red flag. It's just your style. People will be able to see that by going back over your content and seeing that's the way that you've always written. And they might not go back over that content, but if they want to judge you and say, oh my God, that post was written by AI, then let them, because I mean, it's their loss. If they don't then want to buy from you and the incredible business that you are, if they want to then unfollow you, which 99% of them aren't going to, then let them. I mean, that's all, like my words for this year are let them, isn't it? It's from Mel Robbins' Let Them theory, but literally let them. And the second part of Mel Robbins' theory is let me. So think about the things that you can then do. What are you going to do? What are you going to let me? Now, if you've never used those things before and suddenly your content is full of weird phrases or a tone that feels like slightly off, that's where tweaking can help. That's where you want to go in and make sure it still sounds like you. And again, if you haven't got time, that's fine. Posted content is better than no content at all, but it doesn't take that long necessarily to do some of this stuff. So I want to give you some practical tips. And this is why as well, if you've ever worked with me or you are in the membership or have been in the membership previously, you will know that I always avoid using the word should. And that's why I wanted to give that caveat. That's why I wanted to give that disclaimer, because there is no one size fits all. What works for one person might be completely unhelpful for someone else. Blanket advice like you should never use AI or you should always write everything yourself, it's just not realistic. And like I said, it's damaging, and it's equally damaging to go, you should go in and tweak it to make it sound like you. What I am hoping this podcast episode does is say, this is how you can do it in some quite simple ways. And if you've got the time, go in and do that. Because instead of telling you what you should do, I want to give you the tools to make your life easier, not harder. And I certainly don't want to shame you for, oh God, just trying to juggle the billion balls that there is to juggle when you are running a business. Tools that support your creativity and help you show up as you are, not as some polished version of perfection that doesn't exist. So that's what these tips are going to be all about. So I am going to dive into them right now. My first tip is, if you can, use AI as a starting point, not the final product. So think of it like a rough draft generator. It can give you a first go, something to react to. Like I said earlier, something that you go, no, that's not what I wanted, but it sparked a load of ideas of what I do want. You can ask it to write a caption about a particular topic or brainstorm post ideas based on a goal. The key, really, if you can, is never to just copy and paste without properly reading it through and without making it a little bit your own, if you can. So give it a once over, then change the wording, restructure it and layer your voice back into it. Imagine it's like your assistant rather than a social media manager or a copywriter writing word for word for you. So yeah, use AI as a starting point, not the final product. Okay, so another really good tip is to feed it your tone of voice. So AI and tools like ChatGPT gets better the more it knows about you. You can literally say things like, write this in a friendly, relaxed tone that sounds like I'm chatting to a friend over a cuppa. Or you can say, this is my brand voice. If you've done some work on your brand voice, you can put that in there and say, this is how I want it written. You can even paste in previous posts you've written and ask it to match your style. Over time, it starts to sound more and more like you, but you still need to do that final polish. If you are going to tweak it, it's just good to do that final polish over the top of it. And it's quite scary when it gets to know you. And you'll also see those posts out there going, I don't want AI to know that much about me. And that's fine. If you don't use it. But if you are going to use it to make it easier, then this is some really helpful things to do. And you'll learn the more you play with it how to do it. So one of the things I first said is I like to write in a casual tone, which I do because that's how I speak. But when it was firing things back at me, their version of casual and my version of casual were two very different things. And I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it said, but I was just I don't know. I can't even remember. Oh, I wish I could remember to tell you because it made me laugh. So I changed that from casual to simple, and that made it sound more like me. And even now I can write some things in there. I can write a first draft of something myself and say, how does this sound or whatever. And it will feed me something back. And I can say, can you make that sound more like me? And it will give it another go. So like I said, I don't ever use it as a write the whole caption for me, because partly, I do social media marketing. I'm good at writing. I like writing, but I will use it to prompt me. But actually, if that's not your strength, then say, can you write a caption on this thing? And, if you fed it your tone of voice and you polish it at the end, you can make it sound much more like you and cut the time in half of how long it's taking you to create that content. So talking of making it your own, my third tip is add your some of your stories, examples or feelings to it, because even AI can't replicate your life. And what you'll find is, and I've had to start saying to AI, please don't just make stuff up. So like it will say, I once worked with a client and this is how I helped them. And I've never worked with a client or helped them like that. And it's, for me, it's still about being authentic. So give them some real life stories, examples, or feelings to relate to if you've got the time. That moment, like something that your client has done or something your client has said to you, because the stuff it fed me back was brilliant, but I was like, but I've never done that. Like, I've never had a client say that to me, and I don't just want to make something up. But I have got tons of examples of things that clients or members have said and done that I can feed in and say, you know, can you make it relate to this example? So, you know, like if you've ever made a silly mistake that taught you something in business and that's what you're wanting to write your post about, tell it what the mistake is, and some of your thoughts and feelings around that, whether it's like your breakthrough moment in business, whatever it might be. Like, that stuff is really good. It's gold in content. It's the kind of content that builds trust and connection, and that can only come from you. So you can then use AI to draft it, or you could draft it first and say, can you make this better? How does this sound? Does it sound okay? And I laugh that, like, sometimes, like, my husband's laughing at me because I'll ask it all kinds of questions now, like just to prompt some ideas, and it's coming back talking to me like it's my friend, and I quite like it. I mean, I always say please and thank you. It's all nice and friendly. But yeah, you can say, what am I missing from this post? Is there anything I could add? Or you could say, this is my example, can you write me a caption around it? And then, like I said, tweak it to make it your own if you've got the time and if you want to. So yeah, those are the first 3 tips. So I'm just going to recap on those. Use AI as a starting point, not the final product. Feed it your tone of voice and add your stories, examples, or feelings, or, you know, things that really bring it to life and make it you. Okay, my 4th tip is, and this is a really, really huge one for me, this is probably the way I use it the most, is to reduce the mental load, not your creativity. So the blank page is the absolute worst, or the days that you are feeling rubbish is the absolute worst. We've all been there. You've got not a lot of time, an idea floating around in your brain, and zero energy to do it. Or you've blocked it. For me, it's that I've blocked out the time in my calendar to do something and I'm just not feeling it that day. AI can help take the pressure off. It gives you the momentum. Once you've got something on the screen, your creative brain can kick in and take it further, even on the days that you're feeling really rubbish. So this is about making things easier, not replacing your creativity, just supporting it when you know, like when your cup's not very full or when your tank is low. Like I said, that's probably the way that I use it the most, because I enjoy creating content. I'm good at writing. I do social media marketing. So I don't really need it to help me, but I do need it, like, massively to help me reduce the mental load. You know, if I've come off the back of a really difficult morning, I don't know, getting the kids to school or something's happened or whatever, and I sit down at my desk to do something and I just feel exhausted. And I feel like that before 9 o'clock in the morning. It can just kickstart that creativity and get you into the flow of it. Or if, for those of you that don't know, I have talked about this openly on my socials. I have recently been diagnosed with PMDD. I won't go into that now because that's not what this podcast is about. But for nearly a third of the month, I feel rubbish. I feel sluggish, like there's brain fog, mental energy, whatever. And that's the times I really need to use AI. And that's how I use it, to reduce that mental load, to be kind to myself and to give myself a break and to kickstart that creativity. I am a creative person. Sometimes I just need a little revving up. So you can use it in that way as well. Okay, tip 5. Don't feel like you need to tell people that it's AI assisted. Like, I do believe if you are selling services and you're using AI, where, you know, if you are writing content for people, for example, then there should be things in your contract and your terms of business for transparency to say you use it. But if you're creating content for yourself, don't feel the need to tell people that it's AI assisted, unless you are, you know, claiming that you're an award-winning writer, which, let's be honest, most Instagram captions are not, or, you know, like I said, that you're using it to sell services. There's no real rule that says you have to announce, hey, ChatGPT, help me write this. And don't be paranoid that people can see it. Like I said, hopefully these tips will help it feel natural. And, you know, if people do look at it and go, oh, I think AI wrote that, honestly, I don't want to work with a person that is that judgy, that doesn't see that that one Instagram post isn't what makes me good at my job, isn't what, you know, where most of my strengths and things lie, in things like the Boss Your Socials Club membership, for example. If that's going to stop someone joining, that's fine. Like I said, I don't really use it to write. I use it to reduce my mental load, but on some of those days, it does some of the more of the heavy lifting for me if I'm running behind on content. I try to plan my content around the times in the month that I work the best. But if I haven't, like I said, I use it to help me reduce that mental load. You're just using a tool. Like, I don't announce on every post, Canva help me design this. It's support. It's just helping you. You don't have to announce it unless there is, like a need in terms of transparency too. So as long as you're using it with integrity in a way that still represents you and your values, you've got nothing to feel bad about. You don't have to announce it to anybody. Use it as you see fit. It's your business and you don't owe anybody anything. Okay, I've got a couple more tips. So tip 6, learn what your voice sounds like. Now that probably sounds a bit ridiculous. I'm sure you know what your voice sounds like. But honestly, the better you know how you speak, what words you naturally use, because I've done a podcast episode, actually, I'll link to it in the show notes, on how to write better captions. Because writing on social media, you kind of go against everything you've been taught about writing, because you want to write more like you speak. So like I said, knowing how you naturally speak, the words you use, what your phrases are, the easier it is to spot when I hate AI. Goodness me. Right, yeah, we're nearly at the end. I'm on the last couple of tips. It's easier to spot when AI sounds off if it doesn't sound like you. So that can make editing quicker, and it helps you stay consistent across everything from captions to emails to website copy if you're using it for that. It might help to create a mini voice guide. So like I said earlier, if you've got a brand voice guide, that's really helpful to use. Like I said, please don't feel like that's something you need to go off and create before you start writing captions or getting content out there. Don't let it hold you back. But if you have the time, it might be helpful to create a mini voice guide for yourself. Jot down words that you love, words that you avoid, emojis that you use, and common phrases that you feel are like really you. Then you can give it to AI as part of your prompt and help make it sound like you. Now, I say this in the Write Better Captions episode. So if you do want more help with this, go and listen to that episode, because if I do say so myself, it's very good. But one of the tips that I give in there is, when a caption's been written, read it out loud, because it's a very quick way to go, oh, I know I wouldn't say it like that. So, if you haven't got time to go off and write yourself a voice guide, my best tip is to, when the caption's been written, if you've made the tweaks or whatever, then read it out loud. It might just show you some other tweaks that make it sound more naturally like you, because we do all naturally sound different. We say different things, etc. Learn what your voice sounds like. Okay, my final tip number 7, is that you are allowed to evolve. So if you do start writing differently, using em dashes, new phrases, longer captions, that doesn't automatically mean you've been AI'd. It just means that you're evolving. Like, you might be learning how to write better captions. You could be doing that without AI. Like I said, it means that you're evolving. It means that you're growing. It means that you're trying things. So don't let someone else's rule book make you paranoid about every single sentence. If you start using an em dash and you're like, actually, yeah, I really like the sound of that. I like the flow of that. Like, if writing's not your strength and it helps you structure it a little bit better, you're allowed to evolve. And even if you've had the help of AI to do that, it doesn't mean you've been AI'd. So please just remember that and bear that in mind. Okay, I went over them midway through. I probably should have waited till the end, but I'm just going to recap on those 7 tips. So tip 1, use AI as a starting point, not the final product. Tip 2, feed it your tone of voice and how you speak. Tip 3, add your stories, examples, feelings, client experiences, etc., to make it sound more like you. Tip 4, use it to reduce the mental load, not your creativity. Tip 5, don't feel like you need to tell people that it's AI assisted. And tip 6, learn what your voice sounds like. Oh, I've said and tip 6. There's a tip 7. I forgot about that. I've just seen that on the bottom of my notes. Tip 7, the final one that I said, you are allowed to evolve. So I've got a few final thoughts. The first one is that I want you to remember that these are tips. I'm just going to repeat that. I said that earlier in the episode, but I want you to remember that these are tips. If you can't do them all, that's fine. A posted post is better than no post at all. You also do not need to justify using support. You don't need to explain why you're using a tool that helps you manage your energy and keeps your business visible. You are doing the best you can with what you have. You are allowed to take shortcuts. You are allowed to prioritize sustainability over perfection. And if showing up with the help of AI means you stay consistent, reduce your stress, and actually enjoy the process a little bit more, then that is 100% the right choice for you. There is no gold star for doing everything the hard way. And I would say that 9 times out of 10, if we could afford to outsource to a real human, we know they do a better job. We do that in a heartbeat because it still takes time and effort to create content with the help of AI. So we know that we would do that if it was an option for us. We know it would probably turn out better. And maybe somewhere down the line we'll have that option. But if that is not in a position that you are in right now for whatever reason, whether you don't want to, or you don't have the budget or whatever it might be, then it's okay to use AI, especially if the alternative is not posting at all. So go ahead, use the tools, take the support, keep your voice at the center, but let the tech take some of the weight off. And the next time someone makes you feel like you're doing it wrong, come back and listen to this episode again. And please actually share it with someone else that might need to hear this. I would love to spread this message further. Obviously, I'd love to get the podcast further, but I feel like this episode especially is one that you might need to listen to again, or you want to share with a friend. I would really love that. You are not doing it wrong. You are not doing it in any way wrong. You are doing it your way, and that is more than enough. So thank you for listening to my little rant on that. I hope it's not too controversial. I hope you've enjoyed it. I would really love to hear your takeaways from it, whether it helped you, how you're using AI as well, because I love to learn from other people. And yeah, please do share this episode with another business friend that might need to hear it, or you think it might help. I would really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am truly grateful for your time and your energy today. I know that you've got a million things on your plate, and the fact that you're here investing your time into something that will help your business and your socials grow is something I am really proud of you for. Before you go though, if you love this podcast and you're a woman running a small business who wants to make social media easier and business life less lonely, I've got something for you that I want to tell you a little bit more about. The Boss Your Socials Club is here to bring you inspiration, accountability, confidence, and community. It's a place where we ban the word should because we believe in bespoke advice that will work for you, your circumstances, your life, and your business. As a member, you get a clear content plan every month, ready to use templates, and the accountability to actually show up. Plus, you'll have expert support and a community of incredible women who get it and who want to cheer you on and support you in your business journey. And we all need a bit of that. Think of it like having a teeny tiny social media marketing expert in your pocket, giving you the knowledge and the assurance when it comes to posting great, engaging content on your social media platforms and showing up in a way that grows your business without the overwhelm and with a community of women cheering you on. Whether you're just getting started or looking to take your social media to the next level, Boss Your Socials Club has everything you need. You can join from just £24 a month or save with an annual membership, which is £240 for the year, so you get 2 months free. Thank you again for being here today, and I can't wait to catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep showing up, and please always remember, realising that you're not actually meant to do this stuff alone is the first step to making it easier. So I'll see you next time.